Yo, yo, peace, peace. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me on my little break time live. As usual, I don't do long lives, so if anybody wants to hop into the comment section after, I'll be grateful. If you're on live and you want to get on, what up? What up? Darkness is falling. What up? Yeah, man. So the most obvious topic that I guess everybody in the boxing world is talking about is the fact that Canelo Alvarez still doesn't have an opponent. So Canelo Alvarez, the former unified 160 champion, former WBO 175 champion, current WBA regular 168 champion, is looking to get a fight at 160 for one of the actual belts. Peace and power, Sister Lisa Bear. 1-2 Kid, what up, man? Let me, as per usual, if anybody want to get on. Yeah, so Canelo Alvarez can't get no fights at 168, no fights. You know what I'm saying? The latest person to say no is Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant cited the fact that he's just coming off a tough camp for his fight against his mandatory Feigenbutz the other night in Nashville. Peace smoke in Nashville, and yeah, he's saying he doesn't want to get into another fight right away, and he doesn't want people to craft this narrative that he's ducking Canelo Alvarez. I already seen people saying he's ducking Canelo Alvarez, so that's not something that he's going to be successful at stopping people from doing. He's a champion, and Caleb Plant said he wants time to prepare properly, not coming off a fight to run into another fight with a very, very tough opponent, a person who everybody thinks is already the best 168 fighter, even though he doesn't have an actual belt at 168. So the question is, did Caleb Plant duck? Because everybody has said, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have said Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith duck. I guess, for their excuse was that the initial offer wasn't good enough. So Oscar De La Hoya said, hey, if you don't accept my offer, I have a long list of guys. All right, 1-2 Kid, no problem. I have a long list of guys who are willing to take this fight. This list is getting substantially shorter. Caleb Plant said no. Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders said, you have to, give a better offer. Oscar De La Hoya made an offer to Caleb Plant. So I guess he moved on from them two Brits. Where does this leave Canelo Alvarez? Who else is in the pot? I know one person who would take the fight probably is Demetrius Andre. But I don't think they're even entertaining that thought of Demetrius Andre. They should have fought Demetrius Andre at 160 and become undisputed, but they didn't. So my question is, if Oscar De La Hoya is correct, that he's moved on from Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith, he made an offer to Caleb Plant, who said no, flat no. Where does that leave Canelo Alvarez for me? Because a decision has to be made soon because training camps needs to start. Tape needs to be watched and all of that. Who's next on the list? Is Oscar going to go back and sweeten the offer to Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders? I think Oscar was being a bit arrogant when he just decided Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders are stupid and he's moving on. Well, Smoke, you say BGS, but Billy Joe Saunders also said they have to, make a better deal. Him and Callum Smith were not satisfied with the initial offer. Okay. I agree. I think Canelo should have just finished off 160, fought that one last fight with Andre, become undisputed, then, he can move up. I'm not going to knock him because he moved up to 175. I mean, two weight classes? 2 weight classes and fought, right? Rocky Fielding wants to, hey, man. At this point, Rocky Fielding might get that rematch. And if I was Rocky Fielding, I would say, look, you got to come to England and you got to, throw extra $5 million on that. If I'm Rocky Fielding, shit. So I don't know, where this leaves Canelo. People are already saying Caleb Plant ducked and all this blase. That's your opinion. I'm not going to fight you on that. I'm not going to fight you on that. I think you could look at it in multiple ways. Caleb Plant is saying, I just came off a tough training camp. I want to fight this man when I'm only training for him. Is that an excuse? Is that an excuse? I don't know. But I mean, if he's serious, I do understand. Just like I understand that Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith are saying, we're not pleased with the initial offer. Could you please, up the offer a little bit more for us? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with people saying, I want to fight you. Can we get a better offer? Let's keep the communication. What's up, Tommy Temper? Let's keep the communication lines open. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. But Oscar De La Hoya, I guess, in his own mind, it's Canelo and everybody going to jump at the chance. Hey, man, these people are fighters and champions nonetheless. They're actual champions, not Rocky Fielding, a regular belt holder. You heard Caleb Plant say he wants the Benavidez fight. So he wants to unify his division. And we've heard Eddie Hearn and Billy Joe Saunders say, if the Canelo fight doesn't come, they'll unify their side of the street. They'll unify. I don't have a problem with that. So again, where does this leave Canelo Alvarez? What's next? Oscar already said the boat has sailed for Jamal Charlo. They're not talking about Demetrius Andrade. Are they going to go back to the Brits now? And are they going to up the offer a little bit to get one of them? Do they now have to go back? Canelo moved up one for Kovalev. I get they want to move back down slowly, but Canelo is only one man. The zone needs more stars, mixing it up, not named Canelo. I agree. And, and I'm going to get into that in my next topic, Smoke, because I completely agree with you. But you have a situation where Canelo dominates so much of the boxing news, and obviously they signed Canelo for specific purposes. To bring these big fights. But I also think Canelo might be a victim in a way of his own success, because people know how much he's making now. They know how much he's making. They know what he generates. And as such, they also, being champions, are going to try and get something out of that. I'll be interested to know what was the offer to Billy Joe Saunders and them. What was the offer? I would like to know, because from what I'm hearing, it was less than they offered other people. I'm guessing Kovalev, it was less, which I don't think that's fair at all. Kovalev was an aging guy. Some people thought he wasn't the best 175 pounder, but they fought him nonetheless, and he had a good payday. So if they did offer him less than that, was it substantially less? How far apart are Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith and the Canelo Alvarez? How far apart? Nobody seems to know. I'm hoping Oscar and them work something out. Don't be arrogant. They didn't close the communication lines down. Go back to the table and work some shit out. Because I don't know who else is on this list. I mean, who else is there? Who? Y'all already know how I feel. I don't like this whole waiting around for Canelo and begging him for a fight. I would have preferred to see Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith fight first. I wanted to see Caleb Plant and Benavidez unify. I don't like having too many belts floating around. I don't like that shit. Because Canelo Alvarez is not going to stay at 168. He will not stay there. He's going to win the belt, then he's going to abdicate and move back down. To do what? I don't know. Because, anyway. So who else is on the list? Billy Joe Saunders said no. Callum Smith said no. Well, not no, but make a better offer. Caleb Plant said no. I don't know where this leaves Canelo Alvarez, but I don't like this. It's really, really, really BS. Oscar De La Hoya and them are making a big stink out of this, and it's just really ridiculous. Right. Maybe. I agree. I agree. Does that mean you want to see Canelo fight Demetrius in May at 160? Tommy Temper? Because he should have fought Demetrius Andre a long time ago. Just unify the division and move on, rather than letting the IBF strip him and Triple G grabbing the belt to hold it hostage. I don't like that shit. But anyway, that's all for me with the whole Canelo sweepstakes nonsense, which I think is your pay based on resume, star power, pay scale, or watching. I think it's all of those things, Lisa Bells. I mean, it's based on your resume, your star power, your pay scale, and all that, right? It's based on all that. It's based on the things that you can bring to the table. Am I a big draw someplace? You know what I'm saying? Did I beat a bunch of dudes? You think he's done at 160, Tommy Temper? Because if Canelo is done at 160, that's a problem. That's a problem for then if he's done at 160, he needs to let the WBA belt go. He has to let it go. I know the last time we were talking and we said the WBA did not institute mandatory. Yes, they do. Because the guy who beat Danny Roman, I think he's a matchroom guy also. He was a WBA mandatory. He was a WBA mandatory. I think also Povetkin was a WBA mandatory when he fought AJ. So they do enforce mandatories. It's just that the WBA is very lax, and they like who they like. Anywho, that's all for me with this goddamn debacle. The next topic is the Triple G versus Manny Pacquiao value to their networks. And it's my opinion that Manny Pacquiao has been far more successful and valuable to PBC than Triple G has been to the zone. I think Triple G has been an absolute disaster. An absolute disaster for the zone. He signed something of, I think, $100 million deal for 6 fights. For 6 fights. I agree. I agree. You know, if he's not going to go out to 160, just let the belt go. Give it up. Let it go. Give that shit up. There's a lot of other middleweights out there who want a shot at a belt. They want a shot. So I don't like that shit. If you're not going to go back to 160 to try and become undisputed, then, you know, let that shit go. Stay at 168. And let's, you know, because if he keeps saying, look, I'm going to go and jump between divisions how I feel like, when I feel like, then you're going to be slowing up multiple divisions, right? You know, because if you win a belt, he won the 175 belt, then immediately vacated the belt. Now the WBO belt is in flux because they can't get a 4-man tournament going because Zerdo Ramirez doesn't want to fight Elida Alvarez. So he left that division in flux. If he wins the 168 belt, does he stay there? Triple G only had 2 fights in the zone. Nah. One was a fight. I don't know if it was fight of the year. I just saw Sergey Derenchenko sort of beat up a dude who looks old. Triple G is holding the Triple G. That Sergey versus Triple G fight did not draw eyes to the zone. The zone needs people to come look at their platform. And the fights that are going to get people to come look at their platform, they signed Triple G not for Sergey. They signed Triple G not for Steve Rolls or the gentleman that he's going to be fighting, I think, in Kazakhstan soon. They signed him specifically for the Canelo fight. That fight is not going to happen. So in my opinion, the zone, to get value out of him, no, he should unify with Demetrius Andrade. Else, what else is the point? You think the zone is satisfied with him fighting? Who's he? He's fighting. I can't say that. I can't say his name. It's Sremeta or something. Sremeta or something like that. Triple G's deal pays him 8 figures. 8 figures per fight. 8 figures per fight. Exactly. He doesn't. Okay, so you don't do good numbers outside of Canelo, which is already a problem because Canelo looks like he's just gonna make this dude wait until he wants him to wait. Now you got a problem because you got Demetrius Andrade, middleweight champion, Triple G middleweight champion. There was an interview when they asked Triple G about Demetrius Andrade, and he just jumped around the question like he didn't. Let me see if I can find that shit because it was such a disappointing. Let's see if I find it. I want to make sure you guys here we go. Let me play this piece from, actually it's from the Boxing Voice, where he was asked about Demetrius Andrade. Marty Machine, what up, man? So I'm going to play this piece where he was asked about Andrade. I think this was before the Steve Rolls fight. Here we go.
Has been mentioning your name a lot. He has a belt. Should you get past Rolls, is he the guy that you would like to face?
Вы знаете, я долгое время находился уже в статусе, находился в статусе чемпионов мира, и, знаете, я думаю, что отталкиваясь от своего опыта, отталкиваясь от своего экспириенса, я стал мудрее. В данный момент я хочу проводить просто хороший бой. А будут ли они чемпионские или не будут не чемпионские, то есть это уже от многих вещей будет зависеть.
I've been a champion multiple times. I've been a champion for a long time. I'm now in a point of my career where I'm wiser. I know I've learned from my previous fights. So I would like to fight wiser. I would like to fight good fights. Whether these fights are going to be championship fights or not is not as important as the quality of the fighting.
Okay.
You've made it your business to always fight the best. How do you get motivated?
That's what he had to say. I'm not sure what any of that meant. What do y'all make of that? Did y'all hear that? He was asked about Andrade, and he wasn't interested in Andrade. He's talking about he's wiser and all this and all this. Then on the other hand, you have the Manny Pacquiao deal with PBC, and Manny Pacquiao in my opinion, has done what he was supposed to do for the PBC. He did what he was supposed to do. For instance, against Thurman, Manny Pacquiao made I think close to $20 million. I mean, according to Forbes, and Thurman made $8 million. Did I think just over 500,000 pay-per-view fights. I mean, pay-per-view buys. Same with like Adrian Broner, did good pay-per-view buys. He made good money. Manny Pacquiao, I'm not sure he's wiser, but he may be the advisor. Maybe. But Tommy Temper, the question is, if the Canelo fight is not going to happen anytime soon, if that's not going to happen anytime soon, what next? Do you just keep a man making 8 figures every fight, fighting Steve Rolls and, you know, getting worked by Sergey Deverenchenko, then going to Kazakhstan to fight Zremeta? I understand that DAZN is a very global company and it has a lot of push in Europe. I get it. In Europe and Asia, I get it. But for 8 figures, shouldn't your investment then start paying off for you at some point? Like, should Triple G be made to fight Demetrius Andre? Like, ask him, look, you need to fight Andre. You need to unify. We need a big fight from you. Because if the Canelo fight doesn't come this year or next year, and if it comes next year, you already know how I feel. I think it's going to go really bad for Triple G. He looked very diminished against Sergey. And Sergey is a good fighter, but Triple G himself looked diminished. Wouldn't beating Andre then tempt Canelo, give Canelo a reason to come back down and do a 3-belt unification with you? So it's my opinion that Manny Pacquiao has been far more. I think the PBC, I also know the PBC were pursuing Triple G, but I think I don't think so. I think it was $100 million for 6 fights. It was a set amount of fights and a set amount of money. Let me make sure I got it here. Where is it? I think it was $100 million. He was making 8 figures guaranteed for 6 fights. I think Manny has been far more profitable in his deal with the PBC than, and I was saying, I understand that PBC were trying to get Triple G also, but I think they dodged the bullet with this. They dodged the bullet. I think Triple G has not been profitable at all for DAZN. He can't be profitable. Because DAZN would have brought over Triple G specifically for the Canelo fight. And that fight ain't happening. You would have thought Canelo and Triple G, if they were going to fight, would have been fighting on Cinco de Mayo this year. That's not happening. You have Canelo chasing around super middleweights who he can't give a good enough deal to, or he's not giving them enough time to train. That's a problem. Exactly. But I think DAZN wanted to make a big splash, you know what I'm saying? And also it was a good idea for them to do that because they locked up an entire division. Here's the problem. That division is no longer locked up because Danny Jacobs has left the division. Canelo might not be coming back to the division. And you can't get Triple G and Demetrius Andre to fight. Charles D. Peace, what's going on, man? Me there, I know. There's a reason with the people I'm talking about. Well, no, we're talking about Manny Pacquiao and Triple G. And Charles, my position is that Manny Pacquiao has been far more profitable and was a better investment for PBC Fox than the Triple G deal for DAZN. That's my position. But the Triple G deal, I was telling y'all, it was about $100 million. 8 figures, right? Like Triple G is not even going to fight Danny Jacobs again. Canelo didn't want a 3rd fight. Oscar got that deal based on a 3rd fight, from what I understand. Hey, exactly. And they signed Triple G right after that, like right after the Canelo deal. They signed it pretty much like right after, and said, you know, and pretty much was like, yeah, you know, we signed both of y'all because we want y'all to do a 3rd fight on our platform. And Canelo is like, no. So what is this now? Manny Pacquiao, hold on. Let me make sure I got this right? Because I want to make sure. This is from Forbes, even though I don't really go to Forbes for sporting news. This has up the money. This has up the money for the Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. Let me make sure I got it right. So according to the purse info, Pacquiao will earn a guaranteed 10, Thurman 2.5. However, in reality, both men will earn far more. Pacquiao is believed to be taking home over $20 million and Thurman closer to 8 for his efforts. Let's see how much pay-per-view buys it did. It supposedly did. Well, you see, I see multiple things here saying 500,000 or whatever. That's about 500,000, maybe. It's 500,000. Who cares? So what is y'all opinion, though? When you look at Triple G to Manny Pacquiao, who has been the better investment? Who has been the better investment? Manny, a legend with a huge fan base. That man has a country backing. Exactly. Exactly. But Triple G was signed specifically to solidify a 3rd Canelo versus Triple G fight. I think those 2 fights took years off of those 2 fighters' lives, though. Canelo Alvarez is doing, you know, whatever he wants to do, but what he's doing now is a problem because, you know, he went after Murata in Japan. I guess he wanted to go and do an overseas fight like how AJ did in Saudi Arabia. He wanted to do that, but that didn't work out. Not sure why. I would like to know why it didn't work out. I would love to know why the Murata versus Canelo fight didn't work out. Was it money again? Was Oscar De La Hoya not offering enough money? I would love to know why. Shiz Biz, what up? Triple G has cost his own money, and Pac-Man made people. You goddamn right. Triple G hasn't drawn any new subscribers. Well, I wouldn't think so. Manny got to do what he wants with impunity. You think Manny can do whatever he wants in PBC? But then so far, Manny has had 2 successful well, by today's standards, 2 successful pay-per-view events with PBC. How much did him and Broner do? Let me look for that. Him and Broner. Let's see the payout. Again, it's the same like Keith Thurman, right? Right. So it's like Keith Thurman. Manny was reported to be making 10 million, and Broner is 2.5. But we know they'll get more than that. So again, Manny might have gotten close to $20 million, and Broner close to $10 million, maybe. Let's see how much pay-per-view buys they did. They said 400,000 on a few of these sites. Triple G only signed to battle Canelo. He has no intention of it. Charles D, then what's the point? Then you know, all of this is just ridiculous then. Facts. Canelo didn't know the fight was in the deal. Canelo and Oscar have been beefing. I don't know, man. Canelo and Oscar is a weird thing. It's a weird situation, man. If anybody wants to jump on with me and vibe with me before I get off, link. So is it that Canelo, he's just not, is it that Canelo is not interested in the fight, or he's just going to spike Triple G? Is it that he's going to, you know, it's just that he wants to do something else, but he has no problem fighting Triple G, or he just wants to spite him and not give him that payday? Which is it? I think Canelo and this Oscar. Smoke, good afternoon, sir. Hello? Are y'all hearing smoke? Or is it just me? Yep, Charles D said I'll spite him. Fight Boo Boo, and hey. Charles D.
What a guan.
Right on, King. How the boat, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Yeah, man. This is my little break time slub on here, you know?
Yeah, I ain't have to work today. Thank God for President's Day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's the first time I ain't have to work on President's Day. I don't see why niggas would be. I can see why it's federal, but anything else is beyond me. If you ain't the post office or somebody that worked for the government, man.
Yeah.
I don't see why the hell your ass is not working.
Wait, hold on. Who's this again? Small.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, good, man. Good, man.
Okay,
They're good now, man. They're
cool.
good, yeah.
All right, cool. Peace,
Yeah, you got Charles Dion with you.
What up, Smoke?
What's up, Charles? What's happening?
Ain't shit, man. I'd
So
spite
y'all-
Triple G's ass. I don't believe in that bullshit, but I'd do it just to make him fight somebody. He want to chase Canelo because that's all he signed that shit for, man.
Right.
He had no interest in fighting Andre, fucking nobody, even though Charles was PBC, but he signed that shit strictly for Canelo. If I was Canelo, I'd make that motherfucker fight somebody. Fight Jacobs, fight Andre, fight somebody, and I'll give you a third shot.
Red Glove, peace.
Peace. What up, Iron Kong?
Easy, man, easy. We just vibing on this topic here with this Canelo versus Manny Pacquiao value to their respective broadcasters.
You know, is it me, or is John Skipper looking feckless these days? Like, does he not have any sway over the direction of these fights and, you know, pushing the brand? It seems like they're funny. They should be getting a better return for their outlay.
They shelling out hella bread. If I was any boxer, I would do whatever short-term deal I could to get that bag from them motherfuckers.
That's not going to last forever. So that's why I'm like, look, these dudes need to just take their money and fight their leave. But I'm wondering
when that ship sinks.
Exactly. I'm like, why is, you know, I was at home last night. I was like, Pacquiao has been far more successful. Both of them are like aging fighters, right? But Pacquiao is actually fighting the younger fighters at his company, and Triple G is not. Triple G is fighting. He's fighting Rameta. I don't know the guy. I don't know if he's a good fighter or not. Y'all would have to educate me. You know, I don't know, but Triple G versus
Manny just has more options over at the PBC, man. He got the fighters that people actually want to see fight, and Triple G does too. But Triple G, I mean, he's not gonna fight them.
Yeah, he's a
but I mean, at what point do the executives though start forcing their hand? Like, what power do they have? They've paid these fighters exorbitant amounts of money and left the fighters left to their own devices. And you know, Canelo's not doing too bad. He did a unification at Rocky Fielding, whatever. That was in between the Kovalev fight. So it's not that he's doing bad, but for $35 million a pop, it seems like there should be some sort of pressure from on high to the promoters, to the managers, to whomever, to get some fights that at least, like, you know, get people interested in the product and not just the you know, these star power of the, you know, of a Canelo or AJ or something. Like, actually get some fight. I mean, I like the Deverenchenko fight. The Jacobs fight, not so much. The AJ Ruiz fight, the first one was a good one, but it seems like, but even then, you weren't expecting it to be good. It was good because of its unexpected quality. Like, we're expecting what happened in the second fight to happen in the first fight, really. But you know, it seems to me that you know, they're doing a pretty good job of signing some some names to their label. But how do they, you know, maximize the fact that those names are there? Because there's plenty of names in the U.S. That's not going to get you there. You gotta mix it up with somebody.
Right.
Yeah, you need a dancing partner.
Red Glove. Is he gone?
No, I'm here.
Go ahead. Let me hear your comments.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just seems like the only reason why he signed over there was to get that Canelo fight. And it looks like he ain't going to fight nobody worth a damn. Or, I mean, I'm not saying that Deverenchenko wasn't worth a damn, but, you know, it doesn't seem like he's willing to fight the fights that we really want to see. And I'm a Triple G fan, but I have to keep it real. Like, he seems to really, he has like this entitled kind of, I don't know why I'm losing my voice right now. He has kind of like this entitled kind of attitude when you watch his interviews and everything. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what it is. I think he's just like, I'm going to fight the fights that I want to fight until I get that Canelo fight that I want. And I'm not down with that.
I would treat that shit like the NFL. You know, there ain't no guaranteed money in the NFL. You can get that big contract, but they'll swipe that shit right away from you. I'll pull the carpet right from underneath these motherfuckers' feet if I was over at the zone. Oh, you don't want to fight and you don't want to do this? Start taking bread from them. Right.
I'm not understanding, because it's like, okay, cool, you fought Sergey, and okay, for people who are into boxing, that was a good fight. Like, when you saw the two names, that's a fight. I'll say, okay, that's going to be a good fight. We've seen Sergey fight. We know Triple G can fight. But that fight, if you put that on a billboard, that's not going to draw a lot of like casual eyes. And as much as people try and bash casuals are who actually keeps you afloat, because the majority of the crowd, the majority of your viewership are casual people who are just going to tune in just because it's two names that they know to watch a fight. It's casual people. So Sergey versus Triple G, that's not going to draw eyes. Triple G versus Zremeta in Kazakhstan is not going to draw a lot of eyes, right? You know, was that Triple G on HBO before this, or was it on Showtime?
HBO.
Was it on HBO? Well, let me ask you something. Was he a big seller without Canelo on HBO?
No.
No, he wasn't. He only had one pay-per-view, and it was with David Lemieux, and I think he did somewhere in on what was reported. Supposedly he did somewhere in the realm of like 150K to 200K, which to be honest, I don't think it even reached the 200K. Like I would find that extremely generous.
When he fought Kell Brook, was that fight shown on American TV, like pay-per-view on TV? Oh, in America?
You know what? That might have been.
Wasn't that fight free?
I don't think
it might have been.
I saw the shit for free on TV. I don't remember paying for that shit.
Yeah, but you remember HBO used to do the rebroadcast the very next week.
Oh yeah,
they would do the pay-per-view.
Damn right about that.
And then
I don't remember hearing.
They show the shit next week. I don't remember it being pay-per-view though. I'm pretty sure I watched the shit live, but if it was pay-per-view, then shit, I definitely saw it for free.
I don't remember hearing numbers on that though. I actually think it was just on HBO, to be honest.
Shit, who was on the undercard of that fucking fight?
I think the biggest fights for Triple G that I remember was the Willie Monroe and the Curtis Stevens fight. They promoted the hell out of those fights. Outside the Canelo ones, outside of the Canelo fights. I'm just saying like the regular fights that weren't Canelo. They made Curtis seem like it was huge. Yeah, they did pretty good with Lemieux. They did all right with Lemieux, but I thought that Lemieux with Billy Joe Sanders was promoted bigger than Triple G fight. But that's just in hindsight right now. I don't remember.
When Triple G had signed, I remember him specifically saying he would go up to 168 and fight Callum Smith at Anfield. And he hasn't even, I'm not sure where he goes, because there's an opportunity at 168 if you're going to take it. You can go fight Callum or Billy Joe, because Billy Joe is not going to come out to 160. I don't think he's coming out to 160.
The only time I see that moving to 68 is to fight Canelo, because that's where Canelo's currently campaigning.
Then the zone has a big problem. That means Triple G ran game.
That means I told you, NFL contract, man. Swipe that man's money from him.
All right. Okay. So I think the zone is using boxing to get a foothold, and they plan on branching into other sports, right? And in order to get the foothold into boxing, they try to buy some stars, which is fine. But I think the process and the timeline for them getting into other sports is all fucked up for how much money they've laid into boxing.
Yeah, because aren't they trying to get NFL Sunday ticket? Or they got it. I heard that they was trying to put a bid in for that shit.
They have,
which is smart.
They're gonna have to go up against. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Red. Go ahead.
I was gonna say is only thing I could find, and I'm not 100% confident in this, but only thing I could find is on the internet is that it was on regular HBO over here, and it was on pay-per-view in the UK. I don't know what the numbers were in the UK, but we can pretty much assume that that's because it was Brook, not so much Triple G.
Because I damn sure remember watching that shit for free.
Yeah, the
Kell Brook fight. The Kell Brook fight was not. That wasn't even promoted that much here. I remember. I was into Kell Brook just because I respect him so much for coming and doing what he did to Sean Porter. So I was like, okay, let me check the homie out. But I don't remember them plugging it like that.
Unless they plugged it in the UK because it was like Red said it because they had it pay-per-view over there, but pay-per-view over there is what, $20-$30 or some shit.
I think it was kind of
even if it was then, even if it was $20 then, it might have even been like cheaper than that back then.
I think y'all are correct in terms of what the zone is doing. You see, combat sports, from what I know about combat sports, in terms of broadcast, is always kind of migratory. Like you find the UFC was on like a few other channels before it now got to ESPN. You know, combat sports are sports, boxing, MMA, kickboxing. Those things never really have a home, right? People use combat sports to fill blocks, you know, until they can get something better, right? So the zone, of course, the zone is not going to keep offering this money to boxers, right? The zone is eventually going to try and get NFL, NBA. That's what they want, right? Right now, boxing fills some blocks. You can do that. You can get some boxers to come over for your money. So while you're here, sir, you have to make it worth my while. And they should make tell Triple G, you need to fight Andre. Fight that man, because the Canelo fight is not happening.
Okay? I wouldn't reward him that fight until he fights Andre. Shit, I don't give a fuck if you rematch Jacobs. If you're gonna move up to 68, fight somebody at 68. Get a belt.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think they can guarantee him that fight, even if he does give them an Andre fight or anything like that, because they're not gonna push Canelo too hard. Like they're gonna urge him a little bit, but they're only gonna go so far with him. I mean, let's keep it real. Like whether he's actually the cash cow or not, he has that perception, and they're gonna do whatever they can to keep him happy.
Yeah, but the names that they've been chasing aren't bad names. My fault. That's smoke.
No, you got it. I was just gonna say that. I mean, go ahead.
All right, wait. Hold on. Go ahead, Charles.
No, I was just saying the names that he's going after aren't bad names. I watch everyone he's calling out right now, besides the other shit he was looking at. But Smith, Plant,
right,
fucking Billy Joe, those are fights that I'll watch.
Right.
Canelo, Triple G, you don't hear shit. It's crickets.
Right. Smoke?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that, I can understand the zone keeping their powder dry in the Canelo fight, letting Canelo do all the heavy lifting, since, he is getting $35 million a pop.
Sure.
And let him build up the fight. But yeah, they need to figure something out, because, like when Plant called out Benavidez, that pretty much squelched all, it wasn't enough to take the heat off of the Canelo fight. Right. But it was a perfectly reasonable alternative to the Canelo fight. Like, nobody's going to kill Plant for going the Benavidez route, because Benavidez is a monster in the division, right? Well, not a monster, but, he's a respectable win on anybody's record right now.
Sure.
So, yeah, right, like you're saying, I would be pressing the Andrade Triple G fight, but those are two of their prime commodities. I assume that they are saying are driving ratings. So maybe at the end of the year, get those two guys a couple more touches and force them into something at the end of the year to drive the numbers. But yeah, they got to do something.
Yeah. Okay. Like, Caleb Plant fighting Benavidez is a good move, in my opinion. Callum Smith fighting Billy Joe, those are good fights, right?
I ain't mad at those fights. I didn't like Plant's excuse, but I mean, it's
the earlier question, because the first topic was the whole Caleb Plant, because you see videos now of people saying Caleb Plant ducked, right? No, Caleb Plant said, look, I want to fight this man when I can have a training camp specifically designed for him, right? No, if that's his reasoning, I can't shit on that, right? Because if he's saying, look, I mean, I trained hard for this fight, I really want my body to rest, then I got to get back up to fight you again in May. This is what, February, March, April, what? That's what, a 2 months training camp, maybe?
Yeah, but he doesn't even have to train that hard. You just finished the training camp. So all you're doing is really watching video. You didn't take no damage in that fight. Right. I mean, it's whatever, though. If he's going to fight, as long as he's fighting Benavidez, I don't want to see him fight another Puss in Boots. Because then that contradicts the whole goddamn thing.
That's the thing is Canelo, they're playing bully too much. Like at a certain point, you have to stop trying to put your opponent at a disadvantage. Like you are Canelo, you should let your guy have whatever the hell he wants to feel comfortable to get into that ring with you because you're supposed to be the man. Stop with all the these weird fixing fight kind of clauses. Like let Caleb Plant have a full training camp if that's what he wants. Fight him in 3 months or 4 months. Like why are you locked into a date and when a guy just got off a fight? Like you just did that to Kovalev.
Right. So you're saying basically then?
Yeah, but I mean that happened to Eddie Ruiz, and look what happened. Ruiz won the title.
Right.
Yeah, but Ruiz went after that. They didn't try to force Ruiz into nothing. They tried to force Ortiz into something, and that turned into a split in between the powers that be on Team Ortiz.
Yeah,
but
that shit was
if you're looking for a fight, yeah, like what you want, if you just want to build a fight, like a fight that we want to see, that both fighters are comfortable, you can actually see who's at the end of the night. It's not these built-in excuses. Like, why not let that happen? Why you got to force these guys into these weird positions just because it's Canelo?
Well, my thing is, as long as I see Benavidez versus Plant next, I'm cool with it. If I see Plant versus some fucking weirdo I've never heard of, then that defeats the fucking purpose of you turning down the Canelo fight and not taking the Benavidez fight.
Who was Benavidez last fight? Was it Darrell?
Darrell. And Darrell was winning until he got that cut. That changed the actual momentum of the fight. So I think it's an interesting fight, the Benavidez and Plant.
So last time he fought was, according to BoxRec, the 28th of, what is that, September? Last year?
Yeah.
So
in the last year.
The ring. Anything scheduled for him? I mean, I don't see anything scheduled on BoxRec. I mean, yeah, because I don't see anything scheduled for him, and I haven't heard anything about him since Darrell.
He's clear. I think he said. Didn't he say he was cool with the Plant fight? Didn't he respond to the fight after it was over?
Yeah, in the studio.
Yeah, Benavidez. He was there at the fight. He wasn't at the fight, but he responded though, didn't he?
He was in the studio. He was in Fox Studio that did the recap of the fight, but he wasn't like actually at the fight. The fight was in like in Tennessee or something.
Yeah,
so he was with like Porter and Marvez and all of them.
Yeah, wherever, either in the LA studio or the New York studio. I'm not quite sure which Fox studio they shoot out of.
But I'm pretty sure he did respond.
Charles D is saying basically, if Benavidez and Caleb Plant don't fight, then it's a dub.
You goddamn right. If that's what you're basing it off of, like, you just short notice. And then he says he wants Benavidez. If that's what you want, and Benavidez already said make it happen, that better be the next fight. It better be unification.
But you could also say, okay, you want a full training camp? We'll give you a full training camp. I'll fight you in a month. The same thing with White Ruiz. Like the sticking point is the date. Like why would the date be the reason why the fight doesn't happen?
Well, the reason why is because he's trying to do a Cinco de Mayo. He's not going to compromise that. He's going to get more. He's going to get more views and all that. Because remember, he's getting more money the more people who are watching the fight. So I mean, he's going to try to make it to that Cinco de Mayo weekend. He's not going to let anybody fuck that up for him.
So then why don't they have the fight already made so that the fighter doesn't have a last minute thing just for Cinco de Mayo for Canelo's pockets? Like who's driving the boat? Who's at the wheel here? Like you're supposed to also, promote the fight, not just like sign a guy at the last minute and stick him in on a date.
I think, but he's already had some. He's already made offers that have been turned down already. So he has been trying to make fights. Now, I'm not sure I really agree with like the terms and conditions, but he has been trying to make fights. So
has anybody heard what was offered to Callum and Billy Joe? Because their thing is not that we don't want it. We're just saying send us a better offer. But Oscar is saying like he's being hard and fast. Like if you don't take this offer, we're moving on because we have a long list.
Well, Floyd made a good point in that Drink Champs interview that I never thought about. And if it's anything, what he's saying they're making good money. Because Canelo's not making $35 million a fight.
Right.
Floyd said when he signed that deal, because Floyd had the same kind of deal with Showtime, but just not that much money. You know what I'm saying? But Floyd also was getting back end and merch and all that other shit.
Right.
He's saying if Canelo's getting 35 a fight, then that means Canelo's taking like 20, the person gets 10, and then whatever the back end is split, however it is, it equals up to the 35 million. It's just he gets a bulk of it. So say Canelo's getting 20 million a fight. That means the other person's getting what, 10? Or however you want to break that 35 down. You know what I'm saying? Like I get 25, you get 50.
But we're not talking about total purse. Yeah, but we're not talking about the total purse. We're talking about just Canelo's purse, like filed with the state commission is 35 million. Like what the other fighters' purse is something different. I'm just saying, like what they're saying, Canelo's get for, Rocky Fielding was in New York, but the other two, Kovalev and Jacobs, were both in Vegas, and they filed with the Vegas commission 35 million for both of those fights.
Shizbiz is saying Rick Glacier is saying Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders is on.
I don't know how it works, but Floyd was making it seem like if it's 35 million, then it gets that 35 is what gets broken, and Canelo will get the bulk of it. You know what I'm saying? Like however they want to split that 35, like 22-16, or 32 for him, 3 million for you. Like however it is, that number gets broken down.
Both Kovalev and Jacobs reported purses are, what I mean by reported to the athletic commission. Those purses were like kind of low. They're like around 3-4 million, like 2-3. But then it was reported in the media that the zone was giving him like $10 million bonuses for whatever. But that was different than what was reported to the athletic commissions. What was reported to the athletic commissions for Canelo was just a straight 35. And Floyd's a notorious hater. Like nobody is making the money that he's making. So him talking about somebody else's pocket, it's like asking Eddie about some other promoter's pay-per-view. Like, of course it was shit. Of course they're not going to do anything, and you should bootleg it. Like,
Hey man, as I said, Shizbit just said Rick Glacier reports that Billy Joe Saunders took the fight.
He should take the fight. He ain't doing shit. Who was Billy Joe scheduled to fight if it wasn't Canelo? Anybody know?
Callum Smith.
Who was on the plate?
Callum Smith.
Who? Billy Joe?
Yeah.
Didn't Oscar make an offer to both of them?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that if both of them didn't take the fight, the next fight for both of them was going to be a unification.
I get it for unification, but neither one of them are going to make the money they would make fighting Canelo.
Hey, yo, hang on. I'm gonna mute my mic for a second. Hold on.
All right.
Never goddamn mind. The phone stopped. Shit. Never mind. So, well, I mean, according to the money that was being offered.
Hello.
You went out there, Kong. You still talking?
That's the fight that's on right now.
Oh, there you go.
So no, that means Callum Smith has to fight like Danny Jacobs or something.
Oh, you went mute for a second after you said according to the money.
I'm not mad at that fight either. That's a good fight, so I'm fine with that.
Hey,
I wasn't mad at it either. But what was you saying before that?
You said you went out after you said according to the money that's been offered. Then you went silent. Yeah, you went
silent.
Hey, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna answer this phone. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I don't know what the hell he was saying in between that, but I would watch that fight. It's unification, but other than that, if they're talking about purses, the money's with Canelo.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying Billy Joe Saunders because I felt like it's Billy Joe Saunders who is sort of. I was thinking that Billy Joe Saunders was more like kind of just because I feel like he's champing at the bit a little bit more. Like he missed out on the Andrade fight because of the whole nasal spray fiasco, and then he's the one who is sending the offers to Callum Smith. That Callum Smith declined. So I'm thinking the Billy Joe's is just a little bit more hungry right now, and is willing to take. I
like that fight. I just don't know what Billy Joe said is we gonna get.
Yeah, I don't know that Billy Joe is the guy. He's got to be making more than what he was going to make with the Callum Smith fight, right?
I assume that if he's, yeah, I mean, Canelo's.
I mean, without knowing the numbers, we just figure that.
Yeah, just logically, just thinking about it, you'll be like, the money's with Canelo.
Yeah.
But as far as the fight plays out, I hope I don't see sloppy. I hope I see in shape, slick moving boxing Billy Joe, because that'll cause it'll cause a problem. Canelo hate movers.
Yeah. I wonder where the fight would happen. I mean, to me, I think the best version of Billy Joe you're going to get is probably going to be in the UK with whatever it is rules they have going on.
Oh, Canelo's going to regulate some of that shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think Canelo even
something in there.
I would favor Canelo even on the best version of Billy Joe Saunders I've ever seen, which is, against the Lemieux fight. If that was Canelo, I would think that Canelo would win, even, based on Canelo's last performance.
It's gonna be interesting. Callum Smith, he's straight up and down. Canelo will figure him out. I mean, I'd watch either one of them. Fuck that. They all unification, and they all big fights for the division.
But also, you got to think of the build up, especially at this late date. Like, Callum Smith is not only straight up and down, he's also milquetoast and boring. Like Billy Joe Saunders got a little bit of flavor to him.
But if he, both fights will have to maximize the potential. What you think, UK?
I mean, I think that to maximize the quality of the fight, the UK, because if you get all that VADA shit, then you can't get your nasal spray on. So I don't whatever it is that Billy Joe Saunders does to get himself into fight ready shape. That's the Billy Joe Saunders I want to see. Because I think he needs it. Like just looking at the fight, that's what I see. I want to see him have a 12-round gas tank. Yeah, where he never gets tired. Yeah, exactly. Because it's not like he had it's not like he has a bunch of pop on his punches. So it's just the movement and
he keeps people honest. Nobody just jumps in on his ass. That's the same thing with like Floyd. Everybody's like, he pillow fisted. Floyd had power to keep your ass honest. You ain't gonna just jump in there on his ass.
Yeah, but the only guy that had power to walk through Billy Joe's punches was flat-footed and slow in Lemieux. Like he hasn't really fought a guy. I mean, Daniel. Nah. I like the Jacobs Billy Joe Saunders fight actually. That'd be a good fight.
That's another fight I'd watch. They all at 68. Shit, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. Billy Joe to me it's about the movement for him. It's he's like he's like a cross between or somewhere in the middle of like Huey Fury and Tyson Fury. He doesn't, I think he has a little bit more pop than Huey, but he basically just moves around like those dudes.
No, he definitely moves better. Tyson Fury's a fucking weirdo when he moves like that. Every time somebody tells me, and he's the best mover, I see him, I'm like, I don't know if it's because he's 6'9" and the shit just looks fucking weird. Like he moves just enough. He ain't the slickest motherfucker, but he moves just enough.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give him that much goddamn credit.
I think it's his reach. It's a combination of his hands and his feet. The reach and the foot movement is what makes his mobility work. Like his jab is good enough. I think he's a left-handed guy who fights in the orthodox stance. So all of his power is in his front, in his lead hand, and it's coming at you farther away than anybody else you've ever fought.
Yeah, because that motherfucker got legs for arms and shit.
Yeah.
I'm biased. What up?
He gets.
Yo, sorry about that, gents. I had to take a call from the goddamn bank.
They open on President's Day.
You get your money right. He's not in America, is he?
Not in America.
He's not his president.
And y'all gotta tell him chill, man, with all this war shit, because what y'all do affects me. I'm not. Anyway, look. Anyway,
man, that's just politics. It's just an election year. That's all.
Yeah, that's
Trump
true.
needs every help he can get to stay in. He needs all the help he can get to stay in power. So
yeah, you got that right. So this dude, Darkness is falling, saying if BGS versus Smith fight, the loser won't get the Canelo fight, so they should really think more about fighting Canelo. That's true. However, the winner, if they do end well, if Glazer is wrong, and they do end up fighting, the winner would then have a lot more bargaining power. Because if I'm a two belt unified champion at 168. And Canelo comes to me offering me a fight. You know, I mean, I'm not A side maybe, but I'm damn sure close.
You damn right. He's got one belt. You got two.
Right?
Oh, he's bringing the name.
Canelo is, once he didn't fight the Triple G fight, and he got A side for the Triple G fight with no belts. Canelo is now bigger than the belts. Like, he's already been A side with 0 belts against a guy who had 3, and that franchise champion. It's just, now they're talking about the historical nature of the Kovalev win. Canelo, if anybody is bigger than the belts, it's Canelo and Manny. The 2 guys left who are bigger than the belts.
Right. I'm not gonna lie that. But if Callum Smith fights Billy Joe Saunders and he beats Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith is now World Boxing Super Series winner, unified middleweight champion. I guess Ring Magazine, if you count that, no problem. And all of this, undefeated and all this. He's not A side. I get it, but he's up there, right? So
he shouldn't take no damn pay cut. I can tell you that. The pay should be it should be fair. It ain't gonna be like you just offer me peanuts.
But Triple G got like 35%, and wasn't that like in the rematch after the Clint Video that he had to negotiate and bargain for?
Did he get 35%?
So if Triple G's getting 35%, if Triple G's getting 35%, he had belts and arguably a Hall of Fame background coming into the fight. What's Callum Smith or Billy Joe take what they can get?
But Callum Smith, if Callum Smith beats Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith in England is golden, and he can now say, I have a complete viewing audience from a country that's either going to travel to come watch me in America or are going to buy the fight and give you even more money. So his bargaining chips is that I have a country backing me.
Definitely. I mean, and also I cannot fight you, but it's just how do you entice? To me, it's not about enticing Canelo. I think Canelo's bread is buttered. Everything's lovely no matter what he does. There's no way to like shame Canelo into a fight or entice him into a fight or any of that stuff. Like I don't buy it. As long as you're a warrior, that's good enough for Canelo, right? But if Canelo, the winner of Billy Joe Saunders and Smith, their market share definitely goes up, and they'll definitely be able to make more money, at least in the UK. And then it's whether or not you can get Golden Boy. But I think the onus is still on the DAZN execs to get these fights made, because you paid these guys and now you de-incentivize them to actually go out and work. You've already paid them guaranteed exorbitant amounts of money. What's to them,
Is that a drawback to the DAZN model that don't worry about the pay-per-views? We'll pay you whatever the pay-per-view might have brought in. Is that a drawback?
Especially once you've reached a certain status in the sport. Like Triple G basically cashed out. He fired his trainers. He's chilling.
Yeah, man. And he ain't even really had to do nothing. That shit kind of took the hunger away from shit, if you want to look at it in a sense.
Yeah, that Matarosen fight.
Look who he's fought since he's been on his own, man.
Red Glove says
he wasn't doing shit before it, but you really paid him and shit.
Red Glove says AJ is also bigger than the belts. He fought the guy he lost to and got paid more money for that fight than he did in the first fight.
Yeah, but if AJ didn't have the belt, who cares? The division would move on to the belts. I'm saying all he did was fight the guy that beat him. It's not like he tried to test his market value against some other guy. Like he didn't go out and fight.
I got the phone again.
Yeah, but he didn't have a choice.
But I mean, if he's bigger than the belt, then he would have a choice.
I mean,
but if he was bigger than the belt, he would have a choice. That's what I'm saying. Like he needed those belts in order to continue the story of AJ.
And to continue the fight that everybody wants to see, which would be him and Wilder, or him and Fury, or whoever the fuck comes out victorious in that fight.
Right. Like bigger than the belts, to me equals he would have got that same whatever crazy site fee for fighting, Zilly Zhang, and forget the Ruiz rematch. Then you're bigger than the belts. It doesn't matter if you have the belts or not, but he needed them belts.
I think he would have still got paid, probably not as much, but he's still gonna get his money. But for the sake of them future fights, he needs them straps. He's not getting no big paydays without them belts. Without Undisputed on the line, he's not going that far. AJ.
Anthony Joshua?
And plus, plus the heavyweight division is thin anyway.
Yeah, the difference between both Manny and Canelo is that they're able to move up. They can go through multiple weights. You can't do that in the heavyweight division. Those are just the guys that you have to fight. There's like 6 or 7 guys, and that's it. And if they fight each other, then you're just assed out.
What if AJ goes to cruiser? Never mind.
He would look like he would pass the fuck out, man. You know how sick he'd look. That man will fall out before round 3. Ding, pass out.
Well, that's just me, man. I mean, I wanted to discuss this with y'all because this Canelo situation is getting. If it is in fact not true that Billy Joe Saunders took the fight, who else is on the list? Callum Smith says no. Billy Joe Saunders says no. Or let's keep negotiating. Caleb Plant says no. Who else?
And I was just talking cash shit that he has options and that people are now turning down fights. Like, what the fuck? You get money and it's legacy. Like, how the fuck you turn down both? I mean, he still could go to light heavyweight. I don't think he'll do well up there. He got some hitters to deal with up there. You got Bivol, Better Beef, shit. Canelo got his hands full at 75. But at 60, 68, I mean, the fact that he can bounce through divisions like that, and you got people turning down fights, it's like, shit. Like, first off, you couldn't get a fight with Canelo. Now he's throwing out offers and you don't even want him.
Yeah, well,
like, how the fuck does that work?
It's terrible.
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't know. I don't know about this locking yourself into a date either. You know what? Andre Durrell would be a good fight. I know the powers that be. There's a lot of politics behind that fight, but if you say somebody else that's not those 3 guys, not a title holder, Andre Durrell would be a good one.
Is he trying to become undisputed at 68, or is he just looking for a fight at 68?
Who, Canelo?
He called out all champions. Yeah, Canelo.
I don't think. Well, Tommy Temper is of the opinion that Canelo is not going back to 160.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna go back to 160, you do it the way he's doing it, right? You don't just jump 2 down. You have to, cut the weight.
Work your way back down there.
Yeah, work your way down. The same way he worked his way up.
Yeah, so he's stopping at 68, which is, one weight class from where he just fought, which makes sense. But is he trying to unify there, or is he just looking for a fight? Because he's calling out all champions. It ain't like he just, if that's the case, he would have went at Uzi or somebody else. He calling out champions.
Yeah, he's calling out champions, but he's not trying to negotiate with champions unless this is the negotiation. It's like, take it or leave it, here's my date. It's the same thing that happened to AJ in that April 13th thing. It's like, if you're just going to lock yourself into a date, but then you're also not going to negotiate with people, you're going to lose the date, or you're just going to stick in somebody that's, a replacement guy.
Anywho.
Unless they can actually, entice the champion to do it. Like I said, I think Billy Joe is the guy who is the most hungriest in the division, like looking for a big fight. I think he's probably been chapping at the bit since he lost out on the Andre fight.
No, he didn't lose out on Andre fight. He ducked that fight, the second fight. I don't want to hear that shit. Anyway.
No, I'm talking about the nasal spray part. I'm not talking like what happened after. I'm just saying that was his big, like, I think coming out party. The Zone was just rolling out. That was, at that point, was the biggest fight in the Zone's history, kind of thing. It's one of the bigger fights. And
remember he popped dirty, and then he had a second chance when they made it a mandatory when he came back off the suspension, and he still said no. So Billy Joe Saunders, I hope he don't get that fight. Fuck Billy Joe. Anyway.
Yeah, but he was a fat bastard though. He was a fat bastard.
That's why his ass couldn't go fight at 60. He moved to 68. That motherfucker gained hella weight.
Anywho, gents, I gotta get off this, man. I want to thank y'all for coming on with me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's all good.
No problem, man. Chop it up with you for a good minute, man. Be safe out there in your good weathered island.
Nah, it's rainy. It's been raining for the last like 3 days.
Yeah, okay. And what's the temperature?
Hold on. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, which island are you on?
I'm in St. Kitts.
Okay.
It's raining.
Oh, you know that Taj Mahal song? My grandfather married. No? Okay, I'm not able. You guys look it up. You guys look it up.
I want it, motherfucker, clapping
Yeah.
It's a chilly 77.
I will kick you in your goddamn knees at chilly 77. You want to know what it is up here?
It's rainy. What's wrong with you? What's all this hostility? I don't understand.
He said a chilly 77. What's chilly about 77?
It's raining right now, Bridget. What do you want me to say?
I will take rain over this cold shit.
I'll tell you what's happening in Cali. There's the video for you for anybody who can't see. You know, not a cloud in the sky.
Oh, shut up. You in California. I thought you were somewhere on the East Coast. Cold.
Look at this. Bright skies, wonderful skies.
Yeah,
look at that.
Everything's lovely.
Good weather. Both of y'all got good weather and shit. You talk about rain, which is nothing but water.
Rainy,
smoke, you can kiss my ass. You in Cali, my boy out in Cali.
Anyways, man, y'all have a nice day, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, man, you do the same thing, Peace.
You too, man. Talk to y'all later.